In today's aviation news recap, there's updates surrounding the rerouting of flights amid conflict, focus shifts to potential further airline consolidation, and Airbus A320ceo aircraft set for an upgrade in not the first similar story to take place in the same week. Let me begin proceedings with updates surrounding Qantas, who due to ongoing conflict have announced plans to halt flights between Perth and London, the only non-stop connection between the UK and Australia. A pause in flights comes as the airline attempts to avoid ongoing conflict that is taking place in Israel that has put concerns over the usage of surrounding airspace, and we have seen the relevant suspensions at different points in the last couple of days. The aircraft must therefore perform a stopover because of a necessary shift in flight path. That would mean if the adjusted route was to take place under the current aircraft limitations, it would not be able to do so. Service cancellation non-stop between Perth and London as QF9 and the return leg as QF10 per the time of recording is expected to continue until the 15th of April at the absolute earliest. Additionally, the airline says the new designated flight will be QF209 with a brief stopover occurring in Singapore. However, with service technically originating out of Melbourne, there have been further time adjustments so that the flight can still arrive into London at the early 5 a.m. time slot. The route that previously operated non-stop will now fly through Singapore first before jetting onwards to London. Ultimately, the change removes a strong appeal for the route that had made it a headline across the last, say, half a decade. It puts it also now alongside other Qantas services that stop in Singapore, so this means it accompanies the known Kangaroo route, which flies as flagship QF1 and QF2. That is your Sydney, Singapore, London. Factoring in the added travel time towards Singapore, the layover, and onward travel to London, the airline has confirmed that it is also communicating with customers whose travels will be likely impacted by the service adjustment. However, the number one priority from the Australian flag carrier is absolutely clear. That is, the safety of all those aboard the service, employees, and more. And as a result, if changes need to be made to the routing, which they have done already, to ensure stability, then this is something that will be done. Upon launching, Qantas's non-stop Perth-to-London service was seen as an incredible feat for connectivity between Australia and the United Kingdom, with the over 17-hour flight coming in as one of the longest in the world. Operating with the 787-9, Qantas has leveraged the Dreamliner's capabilities for many years to its advantage in reaching key markets without a single stop. Until the arrival of the Airbus A350-1000s, Perth was also viewed as a gateway for the airline to Europe, with services for Rome and Paris. However, the airline could definitely access more markets with the Dreamliner if it had more readily available units. That is something that will come later down the track, but not quite right now. On to the next story. Sources who spoke directly with the Spanish EFE news service are reporting that the Air France KLM group is continuing to show strong interest in acquiring TAP. Now that is your TAP Air Portugal. The popular airline group has been looking to increase its portfolio of airlines in recent months and has eyed up several companies that it at least believes would be a fantastic addition. Notably, we know Air France KLM acquired a stake in SAS and plans to, if it can, increase this in the future. This acquisition is, to me at least, a perfect example of how the group is looking to leverage the geographical positioning of this respective carrier in SAS to enhance its network, and it feels similar could be done with a potential acquisition of TAP. The airline has been closely monitoring the ongoing situation at this airline since now 2023, when it was first identified as a company that was interested in the airline. However, they are also awaiting the next steps in the TAP privatisation to determine what their actions will be on the matter. However, the Air France KLM group will actually face significant competition. Why? Because it is not the only airline group that has been identified as interested in acquiring the services of TAP. Lufthansa Group is another company that has expressed interest alongside IAG, or International Airlines Group, which is home to airlines such as British Airways, Iberia, and Aer Lingus. So, if Air France KLM are serious about progressing with such an investment, which according to reports they are going to have competition to deal with. In 2023, it was reported that the government of Portugal wanted to sell at least a 51% and therefore majority stake in the state-owned airline, which was in line with the privatisation process that at that same point saw legal paperwork approved too. Consolidation within the aviation industry has become a lot more common recently, as airlines and therefore your relevant groups have considered partnering with other companies to improve market share, maybe strengthen their existing business, or even at worst, save each other from collapsing completely. However, in almost all cases, consolidation is heavily criticised by regulators, who express their own concerns over the impact of competition, a potential rise in airfares, and pretty much any other reason why a deal shouldn't go ahead. So we'll definitely have to keep a close eye on the Air France KLM interest in TAP, alongside those other airline groups, to see how this all plays out. On to the final story. Airbus and American Airlines have reached an agreement to retrofit 150 A320ceo family jets that are currently in service. As part of the latest agreement, the focus will rest on multiple avionics systems and airframe upgrades deemed necessary to upkeep these planes. American Airlines says the latest additions will finally bring modern features to the cockpit, focusing on improved weather event predictions, the newest weather predictability features being achieved also thanks to the implementation of the latest generation weather radars. Features like this will allow pilots to make more precise decisions as bad weather approaches. They will essentially have more support than ever. Ultimately, retrofitting such as this with the latest systems is required for those controlling the plane to offer an even safer but also more calculated journey that relates to one that is smoother. Airbus said that the new satellite-based augmentation system with a multi-mode receiver will also be installed. Once in place, this will allow for GPS-based satellite navigation systems to basically have the latest data and technology. From this point, pilots will be able to better approach airports at the end of their flight. Additionally, we will see several other features slated to be added to the retrofit. It really is a comprehensive upgrade. These planes are deemed crucial and also reliable to the American Airlines operation, so it is important that in multiple ways you upkeep them. That doesn't just include maintaining the cabin interior with the latest generation seats, but also down to your systems, avionics, and so much more. They will also align better with the next generation Airbus aircraft that are coming through. If you feel this is like deja vu, you would be correct, because only a matter of days earlier, Air Canada also signed a similar avionic upgrade deal for the A320 family jet. That, though, was for only 76 aircraft. You can let me know your thoughts on the latest aviation news recap down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for your support here on the channel. Take care, do be safe, and I will see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry news. And we'll fly.